episode of Linux Action Show is brought to you by GoDaddy.com.
And by Ting.com. Head over to last.ting.com and save $25 off your first device.
Welcome to the Linux Action Show, episode 301. My name is Chris.
My name is Matt.
Hey, Matt. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Are you ready for me to tell folks about the big show today?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, coming up on this week's episode of the Linux Action Show, we'll be chatting with one of the gentlemen from the Numix project. Now, what is the Numix project? It's more than just a theme, my friends. Numix is a suite. They're setting out to make a whole new generation of usable desktop, and they're working with a lot of projects out there these days, and I've been running it here on my GNOME desktop for a while, and I've gotten a lot of people writing in saying, Chris, what are you using on your desktop? And Numix is all about making a difference in theming. They aim to prove that a difference and usability are combined, and that you can make sense. You can get a modern and stylish desktop spiced up with a pinch of warmth, just enough to make you feel like you're laying in your favorite comfy armchair. That sounds like a great description, doesn't it?
Right? It really does. It really does.
So I'm looking forward to chatting with him because, gosh, I've been following desktop eye candy and making the desktop more usable forever. You know, I was a big Barrel Compiz fan back in the day because I really feel like making it a more approachable desktop makes it more likely that more people are going to want to use it. And I loaded it up here on mine, and I've stuck with it. And I don't usually stick with this kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Well, and I was a big Spinning Cubes fan back in the day myself. So.
Oh, for sure. Of course, then in the news segment, tons of mobile Linux news is breaking. Mobile World Congress is kicking off, and so we've got Ubuntu news, we've got Yalla news, we've got Firefox OS news. Plus, we've also got Microsoft up to their old tricks. We'll talk about that in the news segment as well. In the feedback, we're going to finish giving away some games from episode 300, as well as cover a few other details. But Matt, first, it is our picks. Woo-hoo. As is tradition here on the big show. And this week, I had to start with the one that everyone was talking about. Every now and then I try to surprise you guys with one you haven't seen yet. I think most of you caught this. It's from Google. It's called Project Tango. No, not the icon theme. It's a whole new way to map things, and it's pretty awesome. And guess what? Powered by Linux.
Good stuff.
My name is Johnny Lee, and I work in the Advanced Technology and Projects Group at Google. Our small team here, based in California, has been working with universities, research labs, and industrial partners to harvest the last 10 years of research in robotics and computer vision to concentrate that technology into a very unique mobile phone. We are physical beings that live in a 3D world, yet mobile devices today assume that the physical world ends at the boundaries of the screen. Our goal is to give mobile devices a human-scale understanding of space and motion.
This is going to allow people to interact with their environment in just a fundamentally different way. And we can prototype in a couple hours something that would take us months or even years before because we didn't have this technology readily available.
What happens if you have all of these pieces in a phone? How does that change what a phone is?
We have created a prototype phone containing highly customized hardware and software designed to allow the phone to track its motion in full 3D in real time as you hold it. These sensors make over 250,000 3D measurements every single second, updating the position and rotation of the phone, fusing this information into a single 3D model of the environment.
We have a problem called navigation indoors, and it's a solution to that problem.
It tracks.
So not only is this powered by Android, which obviously is Linux itself, but if you watch here on an upcoming screenshot, and this is the money shot that we're waiting for, is you'll see that they're also like debugging and programming on an Ubuntu workstation. And it comes up about 2 minutes here in the video. So let me see. Yeah. We're almost there.
Around the world and got them all working on the same project.
Those are very high caliber people. Why? It's very simple. I think actually people believe in the vision.
Localization and mapping is there on your phone and you just use it. It's this ability to follow in other people's footsteps.
And we can also benefit from
Here
what
it
we
comes.
do for the project.
There it
back
is.
For the open source community.
Use it.
So there you go. So they're using open source technology. They're using Linux to build it. I mean, it's a pretty cool system. I'll link to the full video if you guys want to watch it after the show. Everybody's been talking about this because it's, whenever Google does something, people really pay attention. But I got a link to linuxinsider.com who went in and got some details about the project. It takes, check this out, Matt, 250,000 measurements a second.
Holy crap.
They say large-scale projects like Google Maps and Google Earth will be improved by this. The sensors let the phone capture more than 250,000 3D measurements every second as it updates its position and orientation in real time. The phone then collates the data to create a single 3D model of the surrounding physical space. So it's a custom-built phone to do this. But Google is making a prototype phone available to developers with interested parties, invited to apply for one of these devices on the project's website. However, Google's only going to make 200 of the smartphones available in the first go-around.
You know, I think I know why they might be doing this. They're probably thinking we need an augmented reality first-person shooter. And this is the ultimate way to do it, because you think about it, you get some Nerf guns, right? And you basically rig up your phones, like just right up in front of you, and just go for it.
Oh, totally.
I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what applications they actually end up using this for.
One of the things they kind of demo is like creating a video game out of the space. So like you capture your existing room, and then you can play a game in there. And I look at that and I go, gosh, that almost looks like Minecraft on steroids. It's like the next generation of Minecraft, where you capture a physical world, and then you manipulate it in the virtual world. And obviously this is to augment their mapping capabilities, right? So that way they can get maps of inside and outside. I don't think anybody's too surprised by that. So the prototype phone, 5-inch display, runs Android, uses the Unity game engine, which I thought was interesting. It's loaded with developer tools, including application programming interfaces, APIs. And Project Tango has spent a year working in research labs, universities, and with industrial partners to develop the device.
Interesting. I also wonder what's going to do with battery life. That's something else that struck me. I mean that legitimately. I mean, because it's a consideration with Bluetooth and all these other things running. Will batteries develop in time to really sustain that?
I don't think so. I would think that you're going to use a dedicated device to do this for quite a while, and
that would be fine.
It's an interesting use for Android. It's also interesting because it looks like in some ways it's doing a little bit of what like the Kinect does. And Apple bought a company called PrimeSense, I think. The original company that made the Kinect technology, I think. And so they've been playing with this inside mapping too. I like that the Google approach seems to be making it available to developers to play with. So it's not just something they're just using internally to make their own thing. They might open it up for everyone to try.
Which is cool. Yeah. Which is definitely cool.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Well, I've got a couple of great picks this week I want to get to. But first, let's thank GoDaddy. GoDaddy.com has a special offer for you guys, longtime sponsors. And we just did episode 300, and they said, let's celebrate. Let's roll out the $295.com. So that way folks can go get that .com they've been waiting for. You got something you want to forward, a blog, a project, something you might be working on in the future, and you want to snag that .com while you can. And because let's be honest, this is a lot like real estate on the internet. And if you can get it for $2.95, that is an outrageous deal. You just have to use the promo code 295SHOW. 295SHOW when you check out to pick up that .com. I've been picking up a couple of .coms for our new How to Linux show. So I'm like, okay, great idea. And I go and I grab it. I put in the show, $295, boom, Bob's your uncle, or $295SHOW. And it gets you that .com. And by the way, if you want to get something else, maybe it's not a .com, maybe it's a TV or some hosting, you can get 30% off the entire order if you use the promo code 30DEAL8. All one word, 30DEAL8. 30% off that shopping cart. Do it, man. If you got a whole bunch of stuff in there, throw it in there, 30DEAL8, 30% off that shopping cart, or get a .com for $2.95 with $295SHOW. There is a reason why you can count on GoDaddy for your business success. I can tell you as somebody who's used them with my clients for years, GoDaddy is the gold standard, and they are the world's #1 domain name registrar. Now they're offering you a .com for $2.95 if you use the promo code 295SHOW. 295SHOW. Thank you, GoDaddy, for your fantastic and long-time sponsorship of the Linux Action Show. And we'll have a link, too, in the show notes if you guys just want to click the banner, and it pre-marks your shopping session for you so you don't have to worry about forgetting that promo code 295SHOW. Okay, Matt, so let me tell you about my pick. So I've been slowly continuing to work towards my Fortress Fisher approach, where I try to get everything inside the moat. And I use... a lot of people use Pastebin, or there's a few other ones. I like Slexy. I think that's a little cleaner one. Yep. Yeah, it supports tabs. However, I decided I'd try rolling my own this last week and see how that went. And it's called Sticked. I think it's how you pronounce it. STIKKED, Sticked. And it's a paste bin written in PHP, and guess what? It's open source, and it's really easy to set up. And here's the installation. You download the most latest build. You create a database and a user for that. You copy it over the application into your web directory. You modify their config file, and you're done. It's ready to go. It's super easy. It also has a companion Android app, so you can edit your paste bins that are hosted on your own VPS or internal server using this. And here's a demo of it if you guys want to check it out. You can see you put in the name. So like for us, we'd say, oh, the author's name was Bob, and he wanted to talk about Arch being the best, right? And then it also supports multiple different languages like HTML or C++, so it can do a little syntax recognition. And that's really handy because it'll do proper formatting for those kinds of things. Doesn't have Markdown, though, which is what I was hoping for. But, that's okay. That's okay.
That's okay. It could be coming down the road.
You can set up, I turned mine off, but you can set up a CAPTCHA. And so that way, if you want to have it public, you don't have a spam bot coming here and filling it up. And you can also say, only save this for like an hour or 30 minutes or keep it forever or 4 weeks. And then you paste it right in here, and it'll support real-time syntax highlighting. You can create a short URL, and then you have your own paste bin. A paste bin is great, and Slexy are great, but actually every now and then for me, they've gone down. And I'm sitting here doing a show, and that's how we read our emails. I'm like, oh, well, Slexy's down. What am I going to do? I can't do the email now. Like, I'm done. I'm screwed. Exactly. This, since it's run on my own server, it's always going to be available. I'll throw it up on a VPS. Bob's your uncle. You've got it. So it's called Sticked. And if this is even like, even I was thinking, like, if you are in a small business and you guys need to be able to pass notes back and forth, or if you're working in one spot and you want to be able to get back to your desk and pull up some notes, it's perfect for that kind of thing. So I used to do a lot of inventory towards the end of my last contract, which was one of the reasons why it was my last contract. And I would sit down and I would take a bunch of notes in a paste bin and then write down the URL. And then when I got back to my desk, I'd bring that URL up and go grab all the notes. Well, now I could keep all of that internal inside the LAN, keep it nice and secure. So I think it's awesome. And it's just one more thing you can roll yourself and you not have to worry about it. And whenever you can have something local, it always performs better as well. So that's Sticked, Sticked. And I'll have a link to it in the show notes. It's up on GitHub right now. It's also in the Arch user repository. I didn't try that installation because you can really just grab the PHP files and throw them in your web directory.
There's no reason to, right?
Yeah. But you know what? It might work just fine. I mean, it might make it even easier. I don't know. And then I suppose it'd be a good way to get updates if you got it from the Arch user repository.
No, that's true. That's the real benefit, I think.
Yeah. All right, well, this week, it's only appropriate that our weekly spotlight is the Humble Indie Bundle because it's been turned up to 11, Matt. Humble Bundle 11. God. And we've got 6 games. Big disclaimer on this bundle. One of them is not available for Linux, and it is the one I wanted the most. And for me, I already had Dust, Alasian Tale. If you don't have Dust yet, this entire bundle is worth it just for that game. Also, Guacamelee is in here, and this looks like a really fun game. Here, I'll play a quick little snip of Guacamelee. Oh, my flash bit me. That's funny. It was just working just fine. You know, it's time for the annual the weekly Flash Just Took a Crap vamp, Matt, because Flash took a
Flash kind of jam into the salsa there.
I know.
You dumped the salsa on your keyboard and it killed Flash.
Here, I'll play it again. It'll work. You know, it's just my luck the way it goes. Here you go. So it's a side-scrolling platformer with a lot of attitude. Definitely a controller-based game. I played it for a few minutes. Like when you start the game, it's like, hey son, you're gonna want to use a controller. Don't even pretend like you're not gonna want that. So definitely a big disclaimer there. Mm-hmm. But it's got a very good attitude. It's a lot of fun. But the game I want to talk about today, because it's the one I've had a little chance to play, it's called The Swapper. And all of these come, pay for what you want, Humble Bundle style. The Swapper has a really cool sort of a gameplay element to it where you can clone yourself and then transfer yourself to your clone to accomplish the sort of puzzles of the mission. And I'm playing a little snip of it right now. It's won numerous awards. Swapper is what they call an atmospheric puzzler platformer set in the future. And you're in space. You wield an experimental device that's able to clone yourself. And you're dropped into a character in a mysterious, weird world. And I'll play a little bit of I've just been playing it just this weekend. But I was playing it on the live stream before we started, and some folks in the IRC chat said they've been playing it and loved it. And it's You buy it part of the Humble bundle. You download the binary. It doesn't go into your Steam account. A lot of these Humble games, like Guacamelee or whatever it is, when you buy it, you can actually redeem a Steam key and it goes right to your Steam account, and then you just download it via Steam. But Swapper was not one of them. All right, here it is, Matt. This is Swapper, and I'm like not too far into it at this point, and I'll show you it's got a really cool atmosphere. I'm going to go up this elevator here, and then I'll show you the clone element of it. So if I can right click and I can place a copy of myself. It has this neat little red outline, and now I have two of me on the screen. If we touch, then I absorb the clone, which is cool. And it has very Metroid-like doors, so when you enter a place, it's got a very Metroid-like feel to it. And so I'll place myself up there, and now I'll place myself up there again. You can have up to 4 clones at a time. I can transfer myself to a clone. So, but you can't. But there's certain limitations, like I can't transfer in red light, and then I can't do certain things in other kinds of light. So they have some interesting gameplay mechanics that make it a little more challenging than you might think. And it's one part for the aesthetic, and one part for this kind of neat, unique gameplay element to it. And again, this is just one of the games you get with the Humble Bundle. And there's a lot of other really good games too, like the Guacamelee. And the game that I really want that isn't available for Linux, they do say they will have a version for Linux later this year. It was this Twisted Dreams, the sisters. Oh. And I'll play just a real quick little clip of it. Yeah, here's a quick look at it. And hopefully they'll have in the next month or two for Linux. Another side-scroller platformer. I guess you can get a little tired of them. I love those, but it's got a really cool gameplay mechanic to it where the whole world changes around you.
Oh wow!
They say it's a blistering hardcore platformer. So.
Blistering
hardcore, Matt. Blistering hardcore. And I wouldn't know because they didn't make a port for Linux yet. And that kind of raised a bit of a stink, actually. People are like, well, wait a minute. You're the Humble Bundle. You're supposed to be releasing things for Linux. And so Gaming on Linux ran a piece about that. And essentially it came down to Humble Bundle tries their best to work with these developers, but sometimes the developers, despite everyone's best intentions, don't make the deadline. So instead of forcing the developer to sit out around because that would give them bad PR, the Humble folks bad PR, they just get them to commit to reporting later.
Seems reasonable to me. I mean, it's not like they're saying, oh, it's on the to-do list. They're saying, hey, look, we're going to do it. We're doing it as quickly as possible. Hang in there.
Yeah, Humble, I feel like also part of it, people are a little upset because Humble, it calls it 6 cross-platform games for any price you want. And then in reality, it's more like 5. Yeah, it's like 5 to 6, 5 with a 6 on the way eventually. But before we wrap up our Humble Spotlight, let's just take a look at the stats, see how Linux is doing. Because, usually Linux is doing pretty good, respectably wise.
Usually.
Above the average. Okay, average Windows purchase price, $4.37. Average Mac purchase price, $5.20. Average Linux purchase price, $6.79. Wow. That's right. So Linux is still the most profitable, total payments, like in terms of amount of payment. Obviously, in total revenue comes predominantly from the Windows side, but Linux is still per purchase doing higher, which I love seeing that, and hopefully it keeps them encouraged to continue porting and pushing those developers, because I'm sure that can be a little contentious for the Humble Bundle folks.
Well, I think so, but I also think that they were part of what because they were doing this before Steam or anyone. I mean, before Valve rather. So I think that we really got to give these guys a break because they're the ones that really helped bring truly great gaming to Linux, because previous to this it was pretty hit and miss.
Tennessee Franks is in the chat room that the reason why they're paying less per game is because they had to spend all their money on the Windows license. They're all out of money. Those Linux users saved money on that Linux license or on that Windows license. That's a great point. All right, well, one last thing I just want to remind folks, we do have our Linux Action Show 300 hoodie, and now we also have a long sleeve shirt available, and we also have a ladies tee available, which looks great. And we have the regular tee as well, and there are multiple colors for each. We're trying to get to 754. We've sold 571 so far with 2 weeks left to buy. Every shirt is coming with a challenge coin, and I've seen some early proofs of the challenge coin. It looks awesome. Nice big coin. then that comes with each shirt. So go grab a couple of shirts if you want. That hoodie, both Matt and I have the hoodie, and I've been wearing it all week. I couldn't wear it on today's show because I've been wearing it all week, and, well, it's getting, to the point where
it gets a little gamey after a while.
Yeah,
same thing with mine.
I got to cut myself back a little bit. But I'm so excited. We're at 571 right now towards 754, and, of course, the profits from this will help us renovate our new studio and throw the Linux Fest Northwest after party.
Well, and something I'd throw out there for folks, too, is something I found when I was wearing mine going to the grocery stores. You will be surprised at who recognizes either the name of the show or the fact that you're running Linux. It's a great way to meet people and break ice.
That's true, because they recognize the tux, and it says Linux Action Show.
That's right.
Representing when you're on the go, right, Matt?
That's right.
Very nice, very nice. So you can find that at teespring.com/last300, and we also have a link in the sidebar right now over on the Jupiter Broadcasting website. 2 weeks left to buy and get your challenge coin. What I'm looking forward to the most.
Good stuff.
All right, Matt, let's do the news.
Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by
Ting.com. Matt, Ting is mobile that makes sense. My mobile service provider and Matt's mobile service provider. I love my Nexus 5 because right there you can see it's just got this really nice little flashing little light there that tells you when there's something you need to know about. It's not all up in your face, just a pulsating little LED. It's like, oh, okay, I have matters to attend to for my business. I see right here. Oh, okay, let's see. I got a new Hangout request. Good. All this kind of stuff. It's right there. This is what I love about these kind of devices, and Ting powers all of it for me now. Now, what makes Ting different? I'll tell you right now. No contracts, no early termination fees, and you only pay for what you use. They have a $6 rate. Flat. That's what you pay. $6 plus taxes. And then it's just your usage on top of that. Ting takes your minutes, your messages, and your megabytes, and they add them all up at the end of the month, whatever bucket you fall into. That's what you pay. It makes a lot of sense. And if you think about it, it's probably what the rest of the mobile industry is going to have to do pretty darn soon as well. And not only that, but Ting tops it off with some excellent customer service. No-hold customer service if you call them at 1-855 Ting FTW anytime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern. A real person will answer the phone and help you solve your problem. They are empowered to solve your problem. They also have excellent online support at help.ting.com, active customer forums, a simple and powerful help ticketing system. They have video tutorials, startup guides. In fact, Ting is really embracing the video medium to help communicate with their users. You remember, I used to have an app pick every single week here on the show for Android. Ting's been taking that up lately.
Hi, I'm Kyra, and this is Ting's App of the Week.
They have Ting App of the Weeks now, Matt.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can go over to the Ting blog.
Looking for a photography app with more features to spice up your photos? ViscoCam has you covered. With a smooth interface and excellent tools, it's the perfect app for photo lovers looking for something different. When taking a photo...
So you can go over to Ting's website, start by going to last.ting.com, and click on that blog link to check out their video of the week where they talk about apps. They've got a bunch of other great stuff on their blog, like upcoming devices and promotional things that they have up there. It's a great site to check, and as you become a Ting customer, you'll find it to be a good resource to stay connected to the company to find out what they're about. And don't forget, Ting has no add-on charges for voicemail, caller ID, tethering, hotspot, three-way calling, call forwarding, and other features you'd expect. They just come with the service. If you want to use tethering, you just turn on tethering. Gosh, I just don't understand why everybody isn't doing this. Plus, they've got a ton of great devices that you own. You buy these devices, you own them outright. Nexus 5, Samsung Galaxy S4, HTC One, all tons of great devices, as well as previously used devices that you can go pick up. You can also bring your own device, and if you go to last.ting.com, they'll take $25 off your first device. They have a whole BYOD page. They got it all laid out, what devices are compatible. They've got some really, really high-value, okay, here's a great example. I've talked about this recently. The Sanyo 3810, $52 if you go to last.ting.com, $52. You own that phone outright. It's all yours. No contract, no early termination fee. Just keep using it as you need, and this is going to be a great device that'll last you a really long time. They also have an early termination relief program to help you get out of your existing cell phone contract. They'll pay you up to $75 per line. Lots of great devices to get started. I really recommend the HTC One. Love it. And Ting also tops it all off with an awesome and powerful, easy-to-use control panel that gives you a perfect snapshot of where all your data usage is at, all your voice messages, all that kind of stuff, where you're right at. Easy-to-use interface, and they also pair it with an iOS and Android app to manage your account. Pool all your devices on one single line for a family or a business, or just go it alone with one device yourself. I've got 2 devices on my Ting plan, and my bill's around $30 a month. So go get started by going to last.ting.com. People love Ting, and you're people too.
That's right. And, I would love to see her doing like more tutorials and stuff like that. I mean, she's not only very well spoken, she's also very pleasant on the eyes. And I honestly think that, seeing more of what your phone can do on Ting would be really awesome.
Yeah, they've got a whole video series with their staff on their blog. So it's not just her. They also have one of their customer service support reps is actually they've got a few of their customer service. They have a good behind the scenes series, and they have like here's another app of the week. They have Mint on there.
And this is Ting's app of the week.
Very cool.
Mint's dashboard is a one-stop shop for all your financial accounts. With a clean interface, awesome visual data, and real-time transactions, Mint is perfect for viewing, managing, and understanding your finances. After securely logging into your financial accounts, Mint separates cash and credit and accurately sums your net worth.
So it's nice, once you get a device, you can you can check these out and see what apps they recommend, and you can also send these around to friends and family. And what's great about Ting's customer service is you don't get stuck playing the role of customer service. You can send them over to Ting. So go check them out at last.ting.com, and a big thank you to Ting for sponsoring the Linux Action Show.
Yeah, definitely big props on the videos as well. I think that's great because, a lot of people don't always know what you can do with the phone right out of the box, and I think being able to point them to something saves you a lot of on the phone time trying to explain it to folks.
And you got a good app. It's going to be they're going to pick the good stuff. So while we're on the topic of mobile, why don't we start the news with some mobile news? Ubuntu phones to ship this year, 2014, from 2 different manufacturers. Canonical has announced the first Ubuntu-powered phones will ship with devices coming from BQ in Spain and Maez in China. Now, according to Canonical's founder Mark Shuttleworth, both companies have a track record of breaking into new markets with mid to high-end phones. Shuttleworth said that Canonical was happy to work with household names, but the company really wanted to find partners whom Canonical could be a significant part of their story. Okay. Now, here's what's interesting. We don't really have a lot of details yet, but Canonical said that information would be available during Mobile World Congress, which starts this week that we're recording. Shuttleworth pointed, though, to the company's existing products as an indication of what the future could hold. For example, BQ has pushed the use of dual SIM phones, while Maez has followed a strategy of only having a single hardware model in the market at a time. And I've got a couple, here's the MX3. Yeah, it looks like a really, really, really nice phone. Now, these guys are pretty big in China, too, so they've got a good established customer base. About 600, I think they said about 600 employees at the company. They have a huge device, this MX3 series phone. Now, I'm just picturing this phone loaded with Ubuntu Touch, and I'm thinking, I could definitely get behind this. And both of them said they're going to be shipping internationally as well, not just in their current markets. You'll be able to order online anywhere. 5.3-inch screen. With almost looks to the edge, right up to the bezel, the glass goes. Big old screen. It looks. They also say it has a Cortex A15 processor in it, which is which I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, is an 8-core processor, which would be insane. I can't even imagine that.
Wow. Wow. And I think they're really illustrating that too with the game on the front there. The car racing. 2400 milliamp battery, which looks really great. They say next generation dual frequency Wi-Fi. They go on a little bit about how it has a magnesium alloy backplane, that it has an incredible antenna, that it has a stainless steel frame, and that it has what they're calling a stunning antenna. Has 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi support. Has GPS. It looks like a really good device. They're saying good camera too. I don't know if this is going to be the one the Ubuntu phone would come on, Ubuntu Touch would come on. That would be smart. Based on what you've read to me, what I've seen as far as performance, if you're going to launch something this important, don't half-ass it. So I think that if they went with somebody like these guys, preferably these guys, not only is it bringing out a fresh name in this whole space that people may not be familiar with, but it's coming out swinging and strong. Right.
Yeah, they're in an established market. They're doing good in that established market.
Right.
They're not in our market, but that maybe now is the opportunity, the chance for them to do that. It currently supports Android 4.2. It has an 1800 by 1080 resolution screen. The front camera is 2 megapixels. The rear camera is 8 megapixels. Does 1080p video. They say it has up to 64 gigabytes of storage. 32 gigabyte and larger, has NFC support. Yeah, 8-core CPU. 8-core CPU. Wow, 1.6 gigahertz, A15. Oh, I see. They're also including the GPU cores in that count. So the GPU,
okay.
Multi-core
but still,
GPU.
It's a good phone.
Yeah.
It's a good phone.
2 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah. Whoo, boy. This would be a rockin' Linux box. And then BQ also, they're the ones that are more prevalent in Spain. They've also got some really good-looking devices. I was looking over. Here's a 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, 4.3-inch IPS display. Also looks like a really nice value phone. Might be a good range for an Ubuntu device. So if Mark's saying this is what we can expect, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on something like this. These both look like really great devices from established players. So that's exciting.
It is exciting, and and I'd like to. I think someone in the chat room even mentioned that, like the Mozilla Firefox nodes, I think they actually are already on Sprint. So with established players already out there, it'd be interesting to see how they enter and how they kind of match up there.
Yeah, I wonder if I think we're probably going to hear something the next day or two, because Ubuntu has a nice booth at Mobile World Congress, and they're going to be demoing some stuff there. So I think we'll be hearing more about that. So it's just kind of one of those things where we're getting like a little bit of info. We got a little tease, but we don't know much more than that at this point, and we're about to find out a whole bunch more. But looking at the carriers, the OEMs they've picked, I'm pretty impressed. They also have like the MX2, Muez does, and that also looks like a really nice phone. I'm not sure which one they go with. So there's a couple options. 8-megapixel back illuminated camera. Boy.
They're not screwing around.
Panorama. And what's interesting is in the case of Muez or Maez or whatever it is, they have a heavily customized version of Android that they actually call their own operating system. They're not even really calling it Android. They're calling it Flyme, F-L-Y-M-E. They say it's based on Android, but it's specifically designed as the soul of the MX. It's they call it a design system coming with a full suite of apps and powerful cloud services. That actually sounds exactly like the kind of company that would be interested in Ubuntu Touch. If they're already heavily modifying Android, they could take Ubuntu Touch, make it their own, deliver their own services and platform over it. I could see kind of where Mark's saying be a significant part of their story. As much as that sounds like PR speak, I could actually see what he's saying there. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens there. While we're on the topic of Linux-powered mobile devices, Sailfish hit 1.0. This is pretty awesome. Yalla, the Finnish smartphone and Sailfish OS developer, today announced that Yalla's mobile operating system, Sailfish OS, has reached version 1.0 and is now ready for global distribution. Yalla is also introducing availability of the Sailfish OS experience as a downloadable software package to devices running Android OS, i.e., a new Android launcher that looks like Sailfish. I'm guessing. So here's a little bit about that. They say Sailfish. Oh, by the way, this is another big part of it. Sailfish will also be made available for popular Android devices as well, so that you'll no longer need to buy a Yalla phone in order to use the operating system. Furthermore, they will release Sailfish that Sailfish launcher for Android. So you'll either be able to load Sailfish on your own Android device, and some of the verbiage on the Yalla website says Nexus devices. So you might be able to put Sailfish OS on an existing Android device, which means folks like us who have been stuck in the U.S. and haven't got a chance to get a device with Sailfish OS on it might now actually be able to get to try it and do a review here on the show and play with it for a little bit. So we've just got and Firefox OS just announced like a whole truckload of partners too. This is more is going to be coming out about that at Mobile World Congress. So what we are getting to the point now where existing consumer devices, and this is a big reason why I love the Nexus line and don't want Google to kill it off like is rumored to. These are more like general computing devices now that you can load your own operating system on, and you don't have to be tied to Android and all of the baggage that comes with that. That's pretty exciting, and I love the idea of being able to put Ubuntu Touch, Firefox OS, and Sailfish OS all in one device.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Let's just see, right? Like, which one do I prefer to use? Give me my choice. Which one do I want to stick with? Which one has the better cloud services, and which one has the better app ecosystem, and which one
that's the big one
freedom.
for me.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me. It's all hugs and kisses until I want to do something. So
yeah, I have thought about it. Like, Android has so many great apps and so many cool things you can do with it now. And it does things like it ties in with my Fitbit and all this different stuff that I kind of have come to expect. And these other OSs, they're not going to have it. They're just not going to have that stuff right out of the gate. I mean, Sailfish.
They figure out a way to run Android apps, then okay, sure. But other than that, I don't see what they're going to do.
Right, and I think that's going to be a capability on Sailfish OS.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know. Then I don't know if it is.
Because if Sailfish OS is able to do that, that puts them above the other guys immediately.
I mean, it definitely takes care of the app problem.
Yeah, because for most people, especially just average Joe on the street, that thing, it's like, can I run blankety blank? I can. Cool, I'm down.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, definitely for like selling it to average users and stuff like that, I could definitely see the benefit of being able to run Android apps. To me, though, it seems like the next logical question would be, well, then why don't I just get an Android device?
Well, if Sailfish OS can do it better or somehow offer something Android can't, but still gives you your apps, that's a real benefit to it that I think really puts it above. It may not put it above Android, but I think it puts it above some of the other, like Mozilla and Ubuntu stuff. I think it definitely puts them at a higher level in that space.
Definitely.
But I don't know.
It gives them an advantage there. But I think part of what Google's strategy is with the Play API and all of the the Play game services and stuff is to make those apps dependent on a whole layer of Google services that Sailfish OS won't have. So what you might end up having are a bunch of really great apps, but the ones that require any kind of Google Play infrastructure stuff aren't going to work. Possibly.
Yeah,
and then it's going to be it's not going to be a, oh yeah, you can run that. It's going to be, oh, well, I think you can run that if, and oh, by the way, you can't get the Play Store yet, so you're going to have to figure out another way, like F-Droid or Amazon or APK side loading, or it's just not going to be all that smooth, I don't think. I'm not sure. That's
going to be tough. Yeah, that's something they're going to have to iron out early, because everybody, that says, oh, well, they'll have apps. Yeah, that's adorable, but unless they have the ones that I'm using, I'm not seeing myself care. I don't know. I mean, that sounds cold, but it's true.
Well, and I think some people already feel the pressure, like if something comes out for iOS and it doesn't come out for Android, and then people sit around and go, come on, man, when are you going to make the Android version? Come on. Well, think about that problem just amplified 10 times.
Well, I think someone in the chat room saying that they do have the Play Store. Are you talking about the Google Play Store?
Good.
Because if they have the Google Play Store, then that's awesome. If they have their own Play Store,
I had read last night from the Yalla website that they do not have it in the U.S. That they have to get it approved. But maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, I want to see them rock. Honestly, I think that'd be super cool.
I love the idea of alternatives to Android and that they're all Linux powered and they're looking good and they're all getting close to their 1.0. Quote unquote 1.0 releases, and I bet next week we'll have a little bit more updates. So hopefully we haven't worn you out on the mobile topic, because that's what these next 2 weeks are. This is Mobile World Congress is going on.
We don't make the news; we just report it.
That's right. And then Linux is going to have a big presence. So if you're there and you got pictures and stuff like that, let us know. We'd like to see them. Okay, all right, but let's shift gears to Microsoft. So we've recently talked about how the UK was setting up a policy where they were going to try to prefer open source. They were going to ask that RFPs, feature open source when possible. Well, they've announced this, and they said, okay, guys, well, look, this is our concept. We're open to your idea. We want industry input, so please give us your thoughts on this. Microsoft has obliged them and sent in their thoughts via a blog post. And the Inquirer ran this piece. Microsoft has warned the UK government against adopting open source software, claiming it's likely to lead to problems. Of course, the firm is reacting to the word that the UK government is looking into moving towards open source software standard across the board to cut its cost. Now, here's what Microsoft had to say. This is on a blog post, which I have linked in the show notes. You may not be aware, but the UK government is currently in the process of making important selections about which open standards to mandate the use of in the future, it warns in a blog post. These decisions will likely impact you, either as a citizen of the UK, a UK business, or as a company doing or wanting to do business with the government. All right. I'm pretty scared at this point. Now they go on to say... I love it how they're warning citizens and business people.
Right, because it's going to be the apocalypse if you're using Microsoft, if you're using OpenOffice or LibreOffice.
Right, yeah. Oh man, if you save that in ODF, think of the children. It says they go on to say this move has potential to impact the businesses selling to government who may be forced to comply. It also sets a worrying precedent because government is, in effect, refusing to support another internationally recognized open standard and may do so for other similar popular standards in the future, potentially impacting anyone who wishes to sell to the government. So, I like the idea here that people who sell services and people who sell entire products and packages and solutions, what about them, Microsoft? This actually seems like a great business opportunity for those people. It's really not a great business opportunity for you who sells a license to software.
Well, and here's the most important piece of that entire statement that you got to really look at, too, is that they didn't actually touch on a single solitary concrete issue. Not one. Every single thing was, this might be a problematic thingamajobber and some more PR speaky crap. And they didn't actually touch on any one thing. The only thing they actually touched on was their open standard. That was the only, and that was really what it comes down to.
Here's the closest they get to that. They say, we believe very strongly that the current proposal is likely to increase costs, cause dissatisfaction amongst citizens and businesses, add complexity to the process of dealing with government, and negatively impact some suppliers, i.e. Microsoft, to the government.
So let me give you guys a preview. If I wrote this article and I submitted it to my editor, it would be sent back to me asking for citation for each one of those marks.
Yeah.
What problems is it causing? How is it causing a problem? How is this affecting people? They're not doing that because it's FUD. It's crap, and they know it.
And they wrap it with, it's worth remembering that the government is seeking responses from anyone, organizations, and citizens. So it is possible for you to respond in a number of capacities. Like, what the heck is that?
Microsoft, come here for a second. It's called citation. Say it with me. Citation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I have the blog post. It's posted on the Microsoft Partner Network UK blog. And the subline is, get the view from the bridge of the Microsoft Partner Network in the UK. Oh, I got the view all right. I got the view for sure.
I got a view for you, but this is a family-safe show, so we're not going to do that. But yeah, Microsoft is something else, I'll tell you. I don't know.
Yeah. An important, so they say here, an important current proposal relates to sharing and collaboration with government documents. The government proposes to mandate the open document format and exclude the most widely and supported used open standard for document formats, Open XML. Oh, man.
And see, and the entire article, that was the only thing that had any, and even though that's bullshit, the point is that that's the only one thing that they could point to that they actually had an issue with. That's what they're worried about.
Yeah.
They don't give a rat's butt anymore than anyone else does about the government or the citizens of the various countries. They don't care. They care about having adoption so that they can then further their product. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. The first comment on the Microsoft blog. Yeah. I guess props to Microsoft for not deleting this. It says, this guy says, OOXML is about as open and transparent as a black hole. It's nothing more than vendor lock-in scam that has run its course. The world has moved on. Time to get with the new program, guys. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That is really exactly it.
Although I'd cite them for not having specific examples, but I agree with them. I agree with the statement, but it'd been more awesome if they could actually link to say, here's an example of blank.
I do feel like Microsoft's OpenXML was a weak attempt to try to respond to ODF. And it was basically what they said in the whole black hole comment, to where it's a sneakier vendor lock-in. It's a little less obvious than some of the other ones. Yeah.
But it wasn't done very effectively, and it's not that hard to see that it's a lock-in.
Just shaking my head, Matt. I'm just shaking my head. It's like, come on, Microsoft. This is the same crap you've been trying for so long, and it just never seems to work. And you just look publicly like a bunch of goofs. Oh,
yeah.
For once, get with the program. And I understand that it's scary that the software licensing model is beginning to erode, and you're trying to grasp. And governments are a sweet source of that sweet money, and that's where you get a lot of it from. And you really hate to see it erode there. But at the end of the day, you're up against the logical reality of how open source is. It's inherently appropriate for government use. It's made
they don't
for the
know how
people,
to
by the
compete
people.
with it. Yeah.
Right.
How do you compete with that? I mean, that's the problem. Is because they will adapt. They're trapped in themselves. They're trapped in their own echo chamber. But hey, let's do more hiring within, because that's going to fix it. More of the same thinking.
Come on down, Sanjay. Come on down.
It's and so therefore I have no pity for them. If they at least tried a Yahoo approach to where they're still failing miserably, but hey, they tried to bring someone new in.
Yeah, and try to shake it up a little bit.
But, whatever.
Just keep writing these blog posts, Microsoft. They'll get you far. All right, well, one last story I want to talk about because this is important to me is the P2V project. The video editor we don't talk about much on this show is doing a little fundraiser. Here, I'll play a little bit of their clip. It's being run by the GNOME project, so it's not like on Kickstarter. But it's the same kind of idea. They have 157 backers.
For the past 10 years, a small team of dedicated developers has been building the foundations of a fast and beautiful free software video editor in partnership with the leading open source multimedia technology, GStreamer. Pitivi is designed to be intuitive for new users while being robust enough for professionals. Its development strategy targets stable key functionality first, adding advanced features onto solid ground.
My name is Jean-François. I've been involved in the Pitivi project for nearly 10 years now. I've been providing a coherent vision and roadmap for the project.
I'm Thibaut Saunier. I'm one of the maintainers of Pitivi, the main maintainer of the distributed services. I started hacking on Pitivi in 2010 for GSOC. Yeah, and
I like the approach they're taking here. They're essentially saying we're not throwing out the code base and starting over and asking you to fund that. We're going to take what we've worked on for 10 years, and we're just going to spend all of our time working on it. And I like that they're establishing up front, like, look, I've been doing this forever, son. Look, I've been doing this since you were in diapers. And I think this is a really great way to go. And they're trying to get to enough money they can do full-time development. And, you know, I think a lot of people think, oh, geez, another video editor. We're already spending money on this. But the way I look at it is, we have seen a lot of.
They can make it better than it is now.
Well, for one, yeah. I mean, even just taking the existing product and making it better would be good because you don't have to have something that's, you know, like that's Lightworks or Final Cut. But at the same time, too, I'm also of the opinion that it's like you can't have all your eggs in one video editor basket. So it's good to have a couple of these going. This one's going to be GTK based. You know, KDN Live is KDE or is Qt based, right? So there's a lot of niceties here to having an alternative. And these guys seem pretty serious. And if they reach their stretch goals, they're going to be porting to other operating systems as well. But they just essentially say it's time to just rise to the challenge. This is an important project. We want to build upon our current solid foundations and unleash Pitivi's full potential to satisfy the needs of professionals. That's everything I like hearing. That's everything I like hearing. I like hearing not throwing out everything. I like having guys that have been working on it for 10 years, worked on it full time. I like trying to make it a professional video editor. This is all kind of floating my skirt up a little bit, Matt.
I would be more excited if there was less of the, hey, look at all the graphics we did make on this video editor floating around in the video, and a little more of actually what they're planning on doing to make me care. That's my big problem is, like, I look at KDN Live, while it's far from perfect, it's a really good entry-level video editor for someone that needs compositing and needs various effects, but maybe isn't quite ready to go to a more professional setup. You know, I don't know. I hope they do, but I fear, once again, it's a little bit like the Microsoft thing to where it's more of the same. Instead, are they bringing in new ideas? Are they actually going to address the fact that it's pretty meh as it is now? I don't know what they're doing to make that better. The UI isn't the problem. It's the functionality and the features.
Yeah.
It's pretty soft.
Yeah.
So
I can see your point there. I want to see a really I want to see a video editor that is made for the GNOME desktop.
Right.
You know, it's sort of under the GNOME umbrella. I want to see what they can do and sort of offer a good challenge to the good Qt-based editors that are going to be out there.
Exactly. So, well, and someone pointed out, why don't I just go to the website to look at the roadmap? And I think that's a great point. I should absolutely stop playing the introduction video and bounce over to a website and read something. This is if you're doing a Kickstarter project, this is 101 stuff, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm reading it right now. I mean, they have some stuff in here, but you're still kind of light on the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, because I think they have a great roadmap.
QA, they want to do quality assurance. So they're breaking it out into different packages. And depending on funding, they're going to get to different goals. Create a plugin API, implement copy-paste, infrastructure for dedicated effects. So depending on where they get to funding, right? So, and they have estimated cost. This is an interesting way to do it. They have estimating. So, hey, if we get this much funding, we're going to try to go to this line. Magnetic timeline. Cool. This is I like magnetic timelines. 1,900 euros. So it's just going to kind of depend on how much money they raise. Right now they've got 164 backers. I don't even see how you become a backer, actually.
Yeah, like I said, the page is. You can tell it was done by a lot of engineers.
Oh, here we go. Donate now.
It's pretty engineer friendly. I from a just an average Joe point of view, I don't know. The details are in the details are in there, but I think that the video really could have been done so much better.
You can toss them some money with PayPal, so that makes it pretty straightforward. That's good.
I do think supporting it. Now, all my criticisms aside, and they're factual, that's just reality. Is the video compelling? No. Is the idea compelling? Hell yes. It's great. It's a great idea. It's needed. Throw money at it, please. Yeah. But they really, really need to revisit that video, I think.
I hope they make it. I hope they do.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think I like the idea. So we'll see. We'll see. And we'll have a link if you guys want to watch the rest of the video in the show notes. Cool. In Firefox, I just get the spinning circle of love. Because Firefox doesn't like HTML5 standards.
Firefox needs a Kickstarter project.
Yeah, seriously. Kickstarter project to get Firefox video working.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Well, we'll have links to everything we covered in the show notes, and we'll be keeping an eye on Mobile World Congress as it rolls out this week. There's some other stuff going on, too, we'll talk about later in the feedback segment during this week, like scale and other stuff. But, Matt, that's all the news for this week. We're going to chat with one of the guys from the Numix project who's making Linux look better than ever. And I got to tell you, I'm all pumped about that. But first, I want to say a big thank you to System76, our segment sponsors this week. Right there on their front page, man. They have that Ultra Pro that, I want that so bad. That's such a nice machine. They got a brand new keyboard on that thing, USB 3.0, HDMI, SD card slot, super thin, Iris Pro graphics. System76 makes computers born to run Linux. And a lot of people, sometimes I think people out there don't fully understand this is a complete product. It's not just a piece of hardware. It's not just a case. It's a complete product. System76, not only do they make an entire experience out of it, they put their own firmware on there. They change things out to hardware control so that way you know it's going to work. My Bonobo is a great example of that. This shipped with Ubuntu. I run Arch on there. All of the hardware keys still work. The volume, the lighting, even the keyboard lighting backlights have been flipped in the firmware by System76 to be supported under all Linux distributions. And System76 makes machines that are designed to run Linux for the long term. So go over there and get yourself something nice. And if you're at Scale 12 this year, say hi to Emma and Ian. They're both at the booth right now over at Scale, and they're rocking and showing people some of the rigs. And I've seen a few pictures of people that are stopping by to chat with them. So if you're over there at Scale 12X, go say hi to them and check out some of the rigs for yourself. Put your hands on them and see what I've been talking about. You'll see why they're so awesome. I've really been happy with my Bonobo. It's been it's my daily driver now for well over a year, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. All right, thank you System76, and thank you everybody who goes over there. Grab yourself something nice and tell them the Linux Action Show sent you. I am really excited to welcome. I'm going to give this a try, but I'll let you correct me. Georgi?
Yeah, if needed.
How do we say your name? Because I'm so bad at this. I say Georgi, but I know I'm saying it wrong.
It's like Georgi, but then again you soften the sound, so instead of saying "oh," you say "yo," like in yo-yo or yo. So it's Georgi.
I got you. Okay, all right. Well, one thing I can say is Numix, and I think you pinged me, it was a few weeks ago when you saw that I was rocking the Numix theme on my GNOME desktop. So real quickly, for people who are not familiar with Numix, because I think there are some folks out in the audience who might not be, could you recap what it is and what you guys are trying to do?
Well, basically what we are trying to do is, when we started that thing, there weren't that much of a good branding and theming styles out there. So we said everything is square, everything is blue. Here we are going to do something in a different manner. So we started working seriously on that about 8 months ago, I think, or 9 months ago. The project has been alive for about 2 years, but then again it has been in some vegetative state for a year and 2 months pretty much. So 8 months ago we started working on that, and we shed all the silly rules with use blue as accent color, make square icons, and we started doing circle icons. As you can see, we started making the accent color red, omitted the search symbol for a radar, and etc. etc. Basically, we try to make something useful, but then again, we also want to be recognizable, so we do things a bit differently from the way everyone is used to.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways, you guys are thinking more about icons and themes than a lot of people ever give any consideration, because what you just told me there is you're not only thinking about creating something that's presentable and beautiful, but also something that, in a sense, has a little brand recognition when you see it. And I'll tell you, I think you have accomplished that, because a lot of people watching live have been like, hey, Chris, is that Numix? Are you using Numix? Circle icon theme pack? And it's like, people are recognizing it right away. But I do notice something that I think might surprise some folks is there's some things on your website that have price tags. And are you guys hoping to be able to make a little bit of money from doing something like this?
Well, we have made a little bit of money, not much, about 2,400 for 8 months.
Okay.
Which is not that bad. It's not good, but still it's not that bad. And then in the end of the day, we're not a charity organization after all. So if we're doing something, at least let's get some revenue out of it.
Yeah, okay. So it's not, you're not necessarily because I've seen a lot of companies that have tried to do this over the years. I mean, going all the way back to a company called Easel, which is actually where we've got Nautilus from, where their goal was to create this entire environment based around GNOME, and they went a little further than you guys are at this point. But I kind of see some of what you're doing, and I think maybe this is that concept for a new generation. You're working with projects to sort of give them sort of a unified look. You're creating icons for a lot of different applications on the Linux desktop that the projects really could be making themselves but are not, and you guys are setting out and creating those icons. What is the end goal? Is it just GNOME you're trying to make look better? Are you going to eventually try to have like a Numix desktop? What's the future hold for something like this?
Well, a few weeks ago, no, it wasn't a few weeks ago, about a week ago, we made that big shiny Google Plus post saying that we are going to unveil something awesome and brilliant and everything. And we still haven't quite finished it yet, but then again, that's as good place as any to reveal it. So I'm going to reveal just the half of it because the other half is totally unfinished. So for everyone saying we are doing a Numix desktop shell or desktop experience or desktop environment or yada yada, yes, we are doing such thing. And we have actually designed pretty much everything. We have mockups for application launcher and docs and workspace switcher and mostly everything that the desktop environment is supposed to be. Naturally, we will use GNOME under the hood and...
so it'll be based on GNOME Shell?
Yep. It's going to be GNOME Shell with a bunch of extension in.
And how, as a user, how would I consume something like that? Is it going to be a repo that I'll add to my distro, or is it going to? Can I have GNOME and the Numix shell installed at the same time? What's that going to look like?
Well, it won't replace GNOME, so you can have both, and we will obviously provide repositories for Ubuntu or Arch or Fedora, OpenSUSE, etc., etc. And we are also going to make it an OS and probably put some price on it because we need developers, and if we need developers, they are going to do so much coding, and then in the end of the day, it's not fair to actually they do some coding and then get nothing in return.
Well, I mean, I know some people's first reaction is, oh boy, another GNOME clone, but I actually take this from a slightly different angle, and I kind of think that was sort of some of the original intent behind GTK3 and GNOME Shell was to be able to have different shells on top of the GTK3 technology. So
with Mutter, it allows extensions to be written upon it. So you have GNOME Shell, GNOME Classical Mode, and then you have Cinnamon, which I'm not sure it's entirely based on Mutter, but it's still based on Fork, I think. So it's really customizable in that direction.
Have you guys played with crowdfunding ideas too? Because that seems like another way to sort of generate a revenue for a project like this. Because I know for me, I think this kind of thing matters a lot more to me than it does to other types of users. So it seems for charging, you're kind of getting a niche of a niche in a sense. What are your thoughts there?
Well, we thought about doing a crowdfunding campaign, but then again, we decided we are not that popular yet. So what we thought is, so we made about $2,000, and we thought about a crowdfunding campaign, and we were like, well, let's just wait a bit and maybe release that OS and then maybe do a crowdfunding campaign and offer something in return, like build computers or make the OS free or etc., etc. But not just yet. We are not ready to jump on that bandwagon yet.
Huh. So when you guys are working on replacing the GNOME shell, I'd love to take a look at it here on the show. So as that gets closer, send me a little ping, and I'd love to take a look at it.
I can send you a picture.
Oh yeah, actually, that'd be great. I'd love to see it. I think that'd be awesome. So have you gotten any kind of have you had any actual interaction with the actual GNOME project? Because one of the things, and I know I'm being really picky here, but hey, we're talking about desktop themes and making Linux desktop look better, but the GNOME desktop is beautiful, and it's so well designed, and yet a lot of the defaults look like they're straight out of 1989. Like the default icons are horrible, the default terminal setup is disgusting, and you guys have come in with a paintbrush on my GNOME desktop and really smoothed over a lot of the rough edges that I thought were disproportionately rough compared to the overall polish of the GNOME desktop. But taking on a whole shell, I mean, now that seems like that's a massive undertaking. What's the end goal there? Is it really the Numix OS eventually?
Well, it will be a Numix OS, and yeah, GNOME Desktop is absolutely brilliantly designed, and I have a lot of respect for the GNOME design team, and they do an amazing job in that direction. But then again, everyone has its vision. We have our vision, Elementary has its own vision, KDE has its own vision, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
So when we designed our desktop shell, we tried to make it our way. We didn't try to improve on GNOME or improve on Phantom or etc., etc. We made it our way.
What kind of, now I know you said you're close to working on it. What kind of timeline are you looking on for something like this? What kind of, is it something sooner than later that we're going to be seeing?
Well, we hope once we attract developers, we don't need that much of developers. We need 2 or 3 guys, and they can do that. I'm not sure, but they can do that fairly quickly. It's not that much of a work.
Okay. And it sounds like initially it'll be mostly based on top of GNOME 3 with a lot of extensions applied, right? So is it an actual fork?
Well, I'm not sure you can call it a fork because it will be just GNOME with extension. And if we go in that direction, everyone that makes a GNOME with extension and makes an OS around will be called GNOME fork after all. But
right.
We don't mind if you, just send you a picture on the Hangout.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can pull that up because I might. Here, I'll minimize. I'll have to minimize that to get that. Yeah. Oh, I see it. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's looking good. That's looking good.
Yep. That's kind of GNOME-ish, but then again, as you can see, if you open the GNOME Shell Dash right now, you have the application ordered alphabetically, right?
Yeah.
So we have first archive and then calculator or character map or cheese or whatever. And in our case, we order them by usage. So if you use Steam a lot, for example, you get Steam on the top because I may have an app called AAA, and that app, I may not use that app, but then again, it's going to be on the top because its name is AAA, which is kind of useless from our point of view.
And is this a dock here at the bottom? Is this like the GNOME favorites move to the bottom essentially?
Yes and no. It's the GNOME favorites dock moved at the bottom, but then again, it's also shown on the desktop only with Intel High Mode, so it shows when there's nothing above it. And it also has that workspace icon on the left, which basically opens the workspace, which is totally different from GNOME's. And as you can see on the bottom right, we have that bell right next to the sound title, which is our notification center.
Oh, okay.
And GNOME has one.
So you've moved the GNOME notification center from the bottom of the screen to sort of like a window that's
to the top overlay, and
this is really cool. I am really digging this. These are nice little subtle changes, really. But it's still recognizable to me as GNOME, so I think that's a good touch. You guys have some good taste. Have you gotten any pushback? Anybody who's sort of had a bad reaction to your work or changing things a little bit, or maybe an app developer said, "Hey, you changed my icon." Have you had any of that kind of stuff?
Well, we had questions about making differently colored folders, but we said we can't do that. We don't have the manpower, and they were like, "Okay, fair enough. Your folders are okay as they are now, so that's cool." And we had some matte-wap icons issue where when I make our icon pink and it was supposed to be blue, and I'm going to recover it, but nothing that major. So we are pretty much cool with our community.
So one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and then I'll open the floor up to anything you wanted to mention, but something you're doing that I think is kind of interesting is on your numixproject.org page, you have the elements you use laid out, you have the color palette laid out, you even have like the icon design laid out there. Are you doing this because you're hoping that other people will sort of follow this as a style guide? What's your thoughts there?
Why we added the branding there is because we were kind of hoping that when people see that, they'll get more or less inspired. And even if we ignore that, in the end of the day, we still thought it's cool. Hey, we're doing that. Let's show how we do it and what is the math behind, and what are our guides and what pixel space we use, and etc. etc. We thought it would be cool. It's not that useful, but still, it's kind of more or less cool.
It's nice to see it actually, and you're exactly right. It sends the message that there's a lot of thought behind the design, which I think is good.
Well, there is a lot.
You guys think about it a lot, don't you? Seems to be.
Yep, we are making icon teams and GTK teams. We even have a GNOME Shell team. Well, It's not actually GNOME Shell team, but then again, we're not restricted to icons only.
So why not take on a desktop like KDE, where I think there's a big calling for this kind of work? Why not start there and sort of...
You seriously don't want to get me started on KDE?
Uh-oh! Wait, what's wrong with KDE?
I may go completely Malcolm Tucker on it, so bad idea.
Okay. All right, so you're just kind of a GNOME guy. Everybody's kind of prefers GNOME. And,
yep.
I noticed, too, you work with the Ubuntu project, and I've seen screenshots of Unity with the Numix icons. That looks pretty good, too. What would it take for you guys to get into ship to default with as the default icon theme for, an Ubuntu release in the future or a Fedora release who also has horrible icons by default? What would it take for you guys to make your way into something like that? It seems like that'd be a big splash, maybe even a possible deal involved there.
Yep, it would. But then again, Ubuntu has its own icon team right now, the Ubuntu Touch icon team, which with the whole convergence story is going to be on the desktop too. And Fedora has GMAC and a bunch of other icon designers, and they don't really want to change that icon team. I've not asked them, but then again, that's their project, and they're making their own icons that fit their GNOME Shell team. Our GNOME Shell team obviously fits with our icons. So I doubt it will go upstream or Ubuntu or Fedora, but you can be sure it will be upstream in our own operating system. So.
Sure. Well, yeah. I appreciate that it was in the Arch user repository because I was able to just go out there and grab them and get playing right away. And it made it a lot easier for me to just try it out. And I installed all of them and just got to pick which one I like. I love the circle theme. I think that's beautiful.
The only supported one, so.
What's that?
It's the only supported one. There are two others, Shine and New Touch, I believe, and they're both dead in the water.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, too. Well, is there anything else you wanted to touch on? Anything else you wanted to share with the audience?
Well, I have that email here. Just let me see if I have more project points to talk about.
I'll have links, by the way, to the Numix Project's website and the Google Plus feed, which you guys are pretty active on with screenshots from different desktops and stuff. Oh, man.
The inclusion on Google Plus is actually quite useful.
Yeah, here's the Unity desktop I was talking about. And, not only are they good icons, but, in terms of, here, I'll bring up, the GNOME system settings on my computer, and they make so much more sense visually when I look at them than the default. The default icons, for me, are, I know what they mean, but these, the sound icon is so clear, Bluetooth is so clear. Everything is just recognizable immediately at first glance. I actually feel like it makes me use the desktop a little bit faster.
Well, yeah, that's one of our goals. We still change a few things like the radar instead of the looking glass, but we're still trying to be recognizable and not do a loose symbol for a search icon, for example. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I appreciate that. It makes it easy to get up and running fast. Well, very good. Great work. I'm really glad you guys got out and been making a splash and reached out to the show because it's so great to see people working on something that's cross distro and something that's so beautiful and something you guys are so serious and passionate about. I hope you can find a way to make revenue from it. It seems like a pretty difficult challenge.
And actually, we are not the only one that started doing that. There is also Mocha project. You should check it out.
Yeah.
And there's also Elementary actually also started just as icon team and GTK team, I believe. So we are not alone in that direction.
Sure. Well, very good, sir. Okay. Well, anything else you want to touch on?
Well, I'm just checking my mail and all pressure points seems to be covered. So no, pretty much no.
Well, great work. And people can find it over at numixproject.org. Go beautify up your desktop. And I think you run it for a week, you guys. I think you'll be pretty impressed. And then keep tabs on them because it sounds like they got some really cool stuff coming up. I'll keep my eye out for that. I think that's really exciting. All right, sir. Well, thank you very much for coming on Linux Action Show today. And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. But hey, Matt, before we get out of here, we got a little business to take care of. Right. Number one is that Linux Action Show after party we want to let folks know about. The Linux Action Show is going to rock Linux Fest Northwest. We're going to be there for 2 days, assuming I don't get horribly ill again, and broadcasting live. We'd love to see you guys there if you can, and we'd love to have you join us at the after party at the studio. Now, I don't know all the details yet. That's why we're trying to get folks to RSVP, because we got to wrap our brains around the party bus and how many party buses we need to rent and how the hell we're going to fit that many people in a little townhouse, which is becoming to be...
Here's a thought you probably haven't thought of yet. Neighbors.
Yeah.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I am worried about them today. We moved
into drop off some notes or something. Or no, gift baskets.
I'm gonna have to.
Neighbors.
I'm gonna have to do that because here we are. We move in. We open up a new studio, and we're in the first week or two, we're gonna have 30 people over at once. I mean, I'm gonna have to go around and shake some hands and explain what's going on and tell them listen, honestly, it's not gonna be like this all that time. But it's gonna be a ton of fun.
HOA benevolent overlords. And,
Yeah. So if you're going to be able to join us, we'll have a link to the Google Plus event if you could RSVP. That way we know you're going to be able to make it. Right now, we've got 30 people confirmed going and 7 maybes to the after party. It's a pretty good crowd. And Linux Fest Northwest is going to be awesome this year. So, what did you think? I just had a chat with a gentleman there from the Numix project.
They got some exciting stuff coming up.
I mean, it sounds like potentially a new Numix-like shell that's going to be based on GNOME 3. I mean, it's going to be GNOME 3 with extensions and whatnot. And so there's definitely a mixed reaction in the chat room. Some folks are saying, "Oh, geez, another GNOME shell, another spinoff of GNOME," and then other people are like, "This is what GNOME was made for." In fact, I guess "Mutter" in German actually means mother. It's meant to be used like this. What's your take? Since I know you weren't able to join us since we'll only do one video at a time.
Yeah.
Are you?
I know.
Yeah.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was a tough one because it's first of all, I think it's anytime you can do more of something, I never have a problem with that, as long as it's not interfering with other projects, and it's not, it's enhancing them. So I see it as a good thing, and I think if we can actually get our hands on it, try it, we may find that we like it better than going the old school route. We might be like, oh my God, this is solving all the problems I've been looking to solve. Or we may be like, this is cool, but it's not for me. We'll be able to know more once we get our hands on it. So I don't see a problem with it whatsoever.
I think as long as it stays pretty close to upstream GNOME and, the differences there are minimal. I think what it does, and what I have found Numix does, is it's bridging that gap between so close with GNOME 3 to really that final bit of polish where every element on the screen visually makes sense, is visually unique, and is visually appealing. Like when they say sit down in that that warm, comfy armchair, it really does feel like that. One of the first things I've done when I've been loading up GNOME boxes recently is I go out and get Numix. Got to get that on there because it just looks so damn good. And I prefer to have something that visually is the same on all my machines. The VLC icon looks like the VLC icon in every box I'm on. That kind of stuff. So I'm looking
consistency is important.
Consistency, exactly. All right, well, we were talking about it earlier in the news segment. I just want to say, hey, guys, Mobile World Congress is going on, and so is Scale 12. If you're at either one of these events this week, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you join us during Linux Unplugged in our open Mumble room for our virtual lug, but we'd also love to get pictures for next week's big show. I know that Firefox and Ubuntu, among others, have booths at Mobile World Congress, and of course, Scale is the Southern California Linux Expo. There's always awesome stuff going on there, too, and Scale kicks off February 21st through the 23rd, and Mobile World Congress is the 24th through the 27th, so both of them will be wrapped up by the time LAS airs next week, so we'll have a little bit of coverage from that and see what good Linux goodness came out of both events. And if you're a boots on the ground, well, we'd love you to be a soldier for us. Hey, Matt.
Yes.
What should we send? What are you up to throughout the week? Where can we send folks if they want to read a little more from you?
You can always find me at datamation.com/open source. Scroll down, look for my name. I'm usually either at the top there. Also, if you want to just save some time and go to the most popular post, I'm the 2 slots up there last I looked.
Nice.
So there's a few different ways of doing it. But Life Without a Windows Desktop, a lot of people misinterpreted the article as thinking I'm saying that everybody could do this. I was rather sharing my experiences living without a Windows Desktop and just kind of sharing, how I do it. So It's kind of interesting to read.
Good post. And that's the boat I'm in, too. It's like, hey, I totally acknowledge that this is not going to work for everybody.
No.
I mean, we get emails in all the time. You often AutoCAD, right, is on that list or something like that. But for day-to-day usage, it just and now for me, the biggest change has been the gaming angle of it. Now, I only game on Linux, and if a game isn't available for Linux, I'm a busy enough person that I can just let that game go. I can just pass that game until it comes over to Linux. So that last piece for me, it almost feels like Steam streaming came along at a time when I don't really need it. Like, the fun thing is I can play some games I hadn't been able to play before, but at the end of the day, I got enough to do on Linux these days, and the desktop looks better than, especially
this is true.
GNOME with Numix. I honestly think it looks better than every other operating system's desktop out there. That's why I'm really excited. Next week, I'm hoping we're going to get to talk to some of the guys working on KDE Next, making it look better. If our schedule works out, they'll be joining us so we can see the KDE side of this equation. And because I think both the higher end Linux desktops in the next year, by the end of 2014, are going to be just so polished and look so good that I now live a life without a Windows desktop. There's not a single machine in my house right now that runs Windows. And with the exception of Steam streaming, where I had it running for a couple of weeks, there hasn't been for ages. Like I don't need it. It's not exactly. That's not true for everybody. So that's great. I'll read this after the show. It's a great post. Last week in episode 300, we launched a Linux trivia game. You can still go play it if you just want to have fun. We've given out 5 games. I've got a couple more games to give out to our top winners over there. So I'll follow up with some of you guys in the post show, and you'll be getting an email from myself later on today to get your Steam game prizes. If you know of a open source trivia game engine, one that I could input quizzes into, that has timed responses that I can adjust the time window, that has a leaderboard score system that doesn't require that you have an account, but can still be tracked back to a single person or something like that, I would very, very much love to know about it. We'll get it hosted on a server. Maybe I can talk Alan into throwing it on a Scale Engine box, so that way we can throw some people at it. I'd love to do more trivia games. This was so fun, having people go head-to-head and see who could answer these Linux trivia questions. I think it could be maybe just a reoccurring thing we do on Linux Unplugged or something like that. So if you know out there, dear audience, of a open source trivia game engine, email it. Go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com, click that contact link, and choose the Linux Action Show from the drop-down. And by the way, that's where you send all your other feedback, too. We love getting your emails. I didn't get to a bunch of them this morning because I was a zombie. But we'll try to double down on them in Linux Unplugged on Tuesday, which, by the way, if you're not watching Linux Unplugged, you're missing half of the Linux Action Show. Every Tuesday, we sit down with our virtual lug, and Matt and I just hash out things. We brought on Michael Hall last week. He talked about his 80-20 rule in open source in sort of light of the Firefox backlash on them taking on ads. We had a great conversation with Michael from Canonical about the blog post he made, which he's calling Open Source's 80-20 rule. So go catch that if you haven't yet. We're getting close to episode 30 on that show. Yeah, I know. It's coming close. Also, go check out the BSD Now show. A topic we've covered a lot is pfSense here on this show. We've done pfSense a couple of times. They just interviewed one of the co-founders and developers of pfSense in Friday's episode, and they also did a tutorial on setting up pfSense. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I think that was... I want to say it was BSD 25. Let me double check. BSD Now episode 25, a 6th pfSense, where they interviewed the one of the co-founders of pfSense, and then Alan did a quick walkthrough tutorial. Definitely worth checking that episode out if you're interested in pfSense or if you have it deployed anywhere. Kind of see what they have in the works. Well, very good, Matt. Anything else we want to cover before we go this week?
Actually, a question for everyone out there. If you guys know of great multiplayer games that you can play on Steam that will run on and don't laugh at me, GeForce 210, I would love you forever. Because it's been very frustrating finding something in the Steam library that I can drop a few bucks on that I know I'm not going to end up regretting. So, and if you want to add me, Iron Spanking 1 is my...
Iron Spanking 1 on Steam. Nice. Yeah, you should go check out. There is a Jupiter Broadcasting gaming group on Steam. Just go in the group section and search for Jupiter Broadcasting. We don't talk about it a lot, so it's not huge, but there is one there. And then, of course,
I may just do that.
There's also, we have a good community over at JB Game, jbgame.tv, and it redirects you to a Google Plus community where there's people on there chatting about the games they're playing, and people set up gaming nights and things like that over at jbgame.tv. That's a good supplement to the Steam gaming group as well. Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, one last bit of business I'd like to remind you about. The Linux Action Show is live on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific over at jblive.tv. You can hang out with our cool chat room and yak at us during the segment breaks. We have a lot more show than which makes it into the final edited version. We had a lot of talking and joking around. So you can join us to get that. Go over to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that in your local time zone. We do it every single Sunday at the same time, so you just got to learn it once. And then you can keep visiting us every single time. Also, go check out linuxactionshow.reddit.com. It's got a brand new look, thanks to Michael, and a lot of other things that are coming out. So it's worth checking out that. linuxactionshow.reddit.com. You can help shape the content of this show. You can catch Matt and I's attention a lot easier that way than, say, email. And you can also propose ideas and just engage with the community and things like that. And it's a great spot to get really good Linux news. And we're actively encouraging people to vote up and down the news stories in that subreddit they want to see in this show and to provide context and commentary in the comments section So that way we can consider all of the different angles before we talk about something on the Linux Action Show. And that's our goal, so that way we can make the bar of content that makes it into the show, especially in the news segment, even higher. And you can help us do that, linuxactionshow.reddit.com. All right, everyone. Man, I think we're all done. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning this week's episode of the Linux Action Show. We'll see you right back here next week. Oh, thanks, Matt. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Oh, that looks so... Oh, wow.
That's too cool.
Just,
Let's open up. Time to open up the NUC, Matt.
Open up your NUCs.
So this is an i5 processor. It'll have 8 gigabytes of RAM and 120 gigabyte PCI Express-based SSD. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Huh.
The box just made the Intel Inside sound when I opened it up.
That's awesome.
Hold on, see if it does it again.
Oh, you weren't kidding.
Do you hear that? The box makes the... Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
That's marketing.
Okay, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
On the back, it has HDMI out. Looks like maybe mini HDMI, though. Crap. DisplayPort, yeah, Ethernet, gigabit, and USB 3.
That's a little tiny fella. It's like a slightly larger Roku.
It's slightly larger Roku, exactly. Only it's a full, so it's more mini than a Mac Mini.
It's a little bit like if you were to turn it on its side, it's like a thinned out Zombu. A mini, really.
This is gonna. I'm gonna put Arch on it, and I'm gonna see if I can make it like a dedicated Google Hangout Skype machine for guests in the studio here. Get rid of this big, loud, clunky thing. And look at this. It comes with a monitor mount, so you can mount it to the back of a LCD screen. So it comes with the mount stand, so it just goes right onto here, and then you just bolt this to the back of the monitor, and the whole computer just bolts to the back of the LCD screen. So yeah, the new global menus didn't make it in as a story. What do you guys think of the new Ubuntu global menus? So I think part of it, what it comes down to, is global menus on the Mac were a good idea when the Mac screen was 9 inches in size for the original Macs. I think as Mac monitors got beyond 14, 15 inches, Apple just kept global menus because that's the way it's always been. And I think it was a little funky for when Ubuntu adopted it, it was already past its prime. And so it was a little weird. And I get what they were trying to go for because of netbook screens and stuff like that, but that was obviously just such a temporary trend. I mean, you look at the resolutions now on tablets, obviously that was a temporary thing. Or it's almost noon, now I'm awake. Now I'm ready to do a show. Now I can actually do a good show. Unfortunately, all the crap I did before this is not... Oh, no. Oh, no, I want my balloon! I want my balloon! Waka, 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 waka.